CZU Centralized Purchasing Guide. This is accurate as of November 15, 2019. If the request form or policies change, this video might become outdated. This video is only for purchasers from the San Mateo Santa Cruz CAL FIRE Unit, CZU. It covers how to fill out our unique CZU purchase request form. If you are a purchaser from a different unit, this video won't apply to you. CZU Finance is beginning to take on the fiscal processing for much of the unit's purchasing, but only for CZU purchasers. What is this centralized purchasing? CZU Unit Finance will enter your purchase orders in Fiscal, make sure they get approved, dispatch them, and receive or reconcile them depending on whether they are P-card or not. You will still be the one interacting directly with the supplier and sliding your card with the supplier. You will still be the one completing any necessary forms like CAL FIRE 93s for services, and you will have to send all your paperwork, like receipts and so on, to Unit Finance. You will also still be responsible for verifying the supplier before you buy. More on that in a moment. But other than that, the fiscal portion of the purchase will no longer be your responsibility. In addition, you will have to fill out a purchase request form, which is an online form that sends your purchase information to Unit Finance, but it is considerably simpler than doing all the fiscal work. However, this is optional. If you would like to continue doing all the fiscal work yourself, you can. Before showing you the online form, here are a few rules to this centralized purchasing process. 1. Fuel and propane. Fuel, that is gasoline and diesel, has its own purchase request form. Please don't use the generic one I'll show you in this video. Propane is also requested by emailing CZU Finance directly. Please don't use the generic request form for fuel or propane delivery requests. 2. No Amazon.com. Because Amazon's shipping and charging methods are so scattered and often inaccurate in tax, resulting in refunds, CZU Finance will not be providing assistance with Amazon orders. You may still buy from Amazon if you really want to, but Unit Finance will not be doing the fiscal portion, or any portion, of it for you. So please do not submit purchase requests for Amazon using the request form. You may try Walmart or Target instead, and CZU Finance will help with those. 3. Checking the vendor. Verifying the supplier is your responsibility. Before you buy, you must go into Fiscal and check if the supplier you want to use is approved and open for ordering and has the address where you are buying. There is another video that covers looking up suppliers. If you do not check ahead of time and put your purchase request in anyway, and there's a problem with the supplier, Finance will not be able to make the purchase order until you fix whatever is wrong with the supplier. This could mean getting a standard 204, entering a new supplier into Fiscal, or completing a supplier update request form. Checking the supplier first is always a part of the purchasing process, and every buyer must do this before buying, whether a part of a purchase request to Unit Finance or not. 4. Get approval first. Any purchase other than subsistence that is over $100 needs approval from your BC. Any non-subsistence purchase over $1,000 needs approval from your DC. Purchases over $5,000 require unit chief approval. This is because every station, battalion, as well as the ECC, warehouse, and auto shop has a budget that the chiefs are monitoring. For example, here is what some of them look like. These budgets are not inexhaustible, so there may be judgment calls that have to be made about what is a priority purchase and what isn't. Do not split a purchase into 2 or more card swipes to try to get around the approval limits or the limits on your P-card. Subsistence purchases still require you, the buyer, to break the purchase down with the subsistence calculator into food categories, and you must send that breakdown to Unit Finance. The subsistence calculator is an Excel sheet that looks like this. There are instructions on the first tab. On the second tab, there are columns to help you break down your purchases, and the third tab totals it all up for you and makes it much easier for finance to create your purchase order. If you are split coding the purchase by charging portions off to incidents, you will have to send a posting tag to Unit Finance as well. Note that Unit Finance will not begin work on your subsistence purchase until we have received both the request form and the supporting documentation. Other paperwork. Just like when we used to do paper CalCard packages, you will send all your supporting documentation to Unit Finance. You will scan the paperwork and email it to the CZU Finance email address within 12 hours of the purchase. This will include receipts, paid receipts, invoices, bid quote worksheets, CAL FIRE 93s, CAL FIRE 20s, CAL FIRE 15s, AO 341s, copies of restaurant menus, and any and all other documents that back up your purchase. If you don't send these items, your purchase won't be processed. If any of these documents have problems, for example, correction fluid, also known as whiteout, on the documents, math errors, missing information, or other errors or inconsistencies, Unit Finance will ask for fixes. If you can't provide them, Unit Finance can't process your purchase, and you, the purchaser, are still held liable. 7. Please consolidate your purchases. Please do not put in a half a dozen purchase requests for Home Depot, each for a few dollars here or there, because you're disorganized and failed to remember other stuff you need, so you made a half dozen trips to the store over as many days. Please just make 1 or 2 purchases instead. Fiscal is still laborious for Unit Finance, so please don't increase our workload because of carelessness. You will need the blocks of PA and UI numbers Unit Finance sent out to you. They were sent as PDF documents and look like this, organized with your name and the numbers that are allocated to each person. Here is an example of what it looks like when you use them. And here is the same thing for the UI numbers, which are used for services. Those document numbers are how we will keep track of your requests and purchases. If you don't have numbers assigned to you, or you lost them, contact Unit Finance and we'll send out the list to you, or add you to it if you're new to purchasing at CZU. And finally, all procurement guidelines established by BSO and DAO still exist. If the procurement guidelines are not followed, or these rules for doing CZU Centralized Purchasing are not followed, you, the purchaser, will lose the privilege of having Unit Finance assist with your purchases, and you will be on your own with Fiscal again. If you have questions, email the CZU Finance email. With all this in mind, here's a step-by-step guide on how to fill out the request form. You will find the request form on the CZU portal page in the Finance section. Here on the CZU Finance page are many different buttons. Here is the fuel order request form, which is different from the form I'm showing you today. And here at the bottom is the purchase request form. Working top to bottom, facility. Facility is a drop-down list. Please pick the destination of the purchase. For example, if you are currently stationed at Soquel Station, but the purchase is actually for Corralitos Station, pick Corralitos. Date of purchase is pretty self-explanatory. If you just bought some subsistence, it's today's date. If it's something you'll be buying next week, put whatever day it is that you intend to make the purchase. Supplier name is the name from Fiscal. You must go look it up. I made a separate video that shows you how. Supplier ID, likewise. So I'm pretending this is a Safeway purchase and entering the Safeway name and ID. While you're looking those numbers up, you will make sure the supplier is open for ordering and approved in Fiscal. If it's not, you cannot buy from them until they are, so you will need to go and fix that before continuing with this form. And while you're still there, make sure the address that will be on your receipt, usually the street address of the place where you're buying, is also in Fiscal, and enter that address here. Purchaser name is the person making the actual purchase, which might not be you. For example, if this is a Granger order, it will be Josh Spires. But if it's your P card that will be used, then put your name here. If you are paying with P card or Cal card, indicate that by clicking the appropriate button. Select if this is a goods purchase or a service purchase. Put in your PA number or UI number here in this area. These numbers only get used once. If you run out, ask CZU Finance for more. Description of what you're buying. If it's subsistence, entering subsistence is enough. But if it's something else, please be accurate. Please do not enter something generic like supplies. Supplies for what? Kitchen cleaning supplies like sponges and oven cleaner? Or are you fixing a door at the station and need weather stripping and nails? Justification. This is important and needs to explain why this purchase is necessary. Why should we spend taxpayer dollars on it? In my previous example, the kitchen supplies might be to ensure safe and hygienic food preparation. The door repair would be for station maintenance to keep rain out and heat in during winter. For the approval, please put the name of the chief who approved the purchase. So if Unit Finance has questions, we know whom to ask. Enter the fiscal year. The fiscal year runs from July 1 to June 30th. Right now, November 15, 2019, we are in fiscal year 2019 and will continue to be so until June 30th of 2020. Unless there is a certain reason you are charging to a previous fiscal year, you should enter the current fiscal year. Reporting structure. This is probably 3540-1701. From this drop-down, you can select the ones that you'll most commonly see. The camp and forest are slightly different, but they handle their own purchases and won't use this form. It is unlikely, but not unheard of, that you would charge your purchase to a different reporting structure. If you do, let CZU Finance know. Service location is not the address of your fire station. It is the new term for PCA. Probably you are coding to 02350, but if not, put the other appropriate code here. If you are split coding, you must send a posting tag via email to the CZU Finance email. If it is an incident, put the incident number here, such as F19CA CZU007409, and then the request number such as E-17 or O-42. Dollar amount. If you just went to Safeway, you know the dollar amount. If you haven't purchased yet, put your best guess or whatever the supplier has quoted you. If there is shipping, put the amount here. Remember that if you pay more than $49.99 in shipping, you must get a bill of lading, which can be hard to get, so I suggest staying under $49.99. Then click Submit. Now go email anything else to finance that you need to send. If you just bought subsistence, you will send a scan of your receipt and your subsistence calculator showing the purchase divided up by category. If you're split coding any kind of purchase, you will send a posting tag. If this was a restaurant or hotel purchase out of county, send all your documents, receipts, invoices, AO341, CAL FIRE 93 or 15, menu photos, everything. You can also send an email to CZU Finance to clarify anything, or if you just want to check that you did everything okay, or to ask a question. That's all. I hope this was useful in getting you started on how to work with CZU's centralized purchasing process. Also, remember that this is optional. If you want to continue doing the fiscal portion of processing your purchases on your own, you can. That's all for now. Send any questions to the CZU Finance email.